The future of the SRX series. This is an interesting topic because it is very uncertain what the status of the series is going forward. With announcements very early this year in 2024 being made that there would be races, and they even had the sales of tickets to go to some of these races, and very shortly after in February, basically the announcement of the postponement of the entire series. There's an unknown return and even potentially a non-return to real world racing, and the series just being dead, much like IROC was for so many years. My question today is, could iRacing actually be the savior of the SRX series? We know that iRacing has brought back North Wilkesboro, brought real world racing back. We have the Cup Series, the Cars Tour, mini series returning. I think even the Whelen Modified Tour. So that track is back after being dead for 20 years. And many tracks around the world that could not be saved or brought back in the real world have been preserved by iRacing, and we actually have access to them, and it's kind of reignited a spark and an interest in those tracks, even though there cannot be real world racing there. So iRacing began scanning the SRX cars in September of 2023, and a lot of iRacing oval and dirt fans had pretty great praise about bringing that into the service. But at the time, it was not known that the series would be postponed or potentially canceled. So now that there's no real world schedule for 2024 racing or any future racing for that matter, will there still be an interest in people even driving the cars in iRacing? Or will it just be a dead-on arrival series that no one really enters? There's been several of those series that's popped up and basically died either immediately or shortly after, such as the Jet car, the IR01, and the Porsche Mission R. Just very little interest in those series. So, should iRacing provide a good series for sim enthusiasts to enjoy? This could very well spark up online conversations about the return of the series. That in turn could draw the attention of investors and sponsors that otherwise would have no interest, or I should say no interest in the expense that the series had. And this could cause the uncertain future of the series to have a full recovery and even have real world racing again, even though it's very obviously postponed currently and possibly canceled. I did not follow the series extremely closely. I didn't care much for dirt races in what is essentially a stock car. I've found those races to be less entertaining than races in actual dirt cars, such as late models and sprint cars. I did enjoy the series on paved ovals and short tracks, and even the bigger tracks they went to. And I did enjoy the series and appreciate what it did well. It's been known recently, Ray Evernham has been on the Dale Jr. podcast and mentioned that he was fully on board in the beginning. Obviously, it was one of his brainchilds, and he was on board in 2021. He wanted this to be about retired racing heroes and upcoming stars, as well as the local short track hero of each of the tracks, to come and race against the best of the best and show what they could do. In fact, in the very first SRX race, Doug Kobe, a Whelen Modified guy and a guy that just races modifieds up northeast, I'm sure he raced late models as well, he entered and won the main event because I don't know if it's that he knew the track that well. Obviously the car handles totally different than a Whelen Modified or a modified they race there every week, but at the end of the day he still was able to beat some of the best drivers ever in the oval racing scene, and was able to show off that yes, your local track hero is that good. At the end of that season, though, there was some business that was not made public behind closed doors that was going to basically force changes because the series was not getting a return on the investment. And so with those changes that the series wanted to make, Ray Evernham decided to duck out and basically just take up other projects that now we know is potentially bringing IROC back to the forefront of the racing scene. Now, I actually went to the SRX race in South Boston, Virginia. You can actually see me in the blurry background of this photo. That was Tony Stewart and Ernie Francis Jr. When they had a basically kind of an altercation, not really a fight, after one of the heat races. Yes, the crowd saw this and was reacting, and we were, looking on as well. You can't really see much of me in this picture because it is so blurry. But I was there and had a great experience. Normally, at these small, short tracks, you might see 2 or 3 cars race for position and swap places, race side by side. If you're very lucky, you might get to see that for the lead of the race, and very, very rarely the win on the last lap. It might go 2-3 wide. I've seen this happen in the Cars Tour at different short tracks. I've seen it happen at some local short tracks here in North Carolina. However, what the SRX series did very, very well is when I went to this race, we had never seen a short track like 3/8 of a mile where it was nose to tail throughout the entire field for laps on end. It was basically 2 wide for probably 10 to 15 laps before it got single file, and it may not have even got single file. My memory is not that great to remember. I'm sure I could look up a replay of the race, but it was absolutely close racing in its best. And yes, it is due to it being basically a fixed race where everybody's in the same equipment, but that's the point. It was incredible. It was a blast to be there. They put on a show that you don't typically get, and they kind of brought the show to these smaller tracks in ways that your local series typically cannot do. So after 2022, that's when I went, was in 2022. After that year, the series decided it best to do their races on Thursday night in an effort to bring back Thursday Night Thunder. This was a big push by Tony Stewart, and I can kind of see his argument, his reasoning behind doing this. I do remember seeing Tony Stewart on Thursday Night Thunder back in the day, but in my opinion, this was a terrible mistake on many fronts. The biggest problem that I had was that most of your fans work during the week, or at least most of the week. It's no longer feasible for me to go, or at least in 2023, it was no longer feasible for me to go to any of these SRX races, even if they did come close to me, even if I knew it would be a must-see event. I just knew that Thursday night's not, I would have to ask off work for the next day at the very least, and in some cases maybe even that same day. And that would basically mean a 4-day weekend for me. That's using 2 vacation days. Most of us do not have that much vacation to throw away anyway. We want to do things with our family, do other big events, and even take a big vacation if we can. Another issue that was very obvious is that because it was on Thursday night, you're typically, now I know there still was some, but typically we no longer had the local track hero, and instead we started bringing in current NASCAR drivers. Chase Elliott, I'm pretty sure they brought Kyle Larson in. I can't remember exactly, but I do remember several times having current day NASCAR drivers in, and in my opinion this just was not needed, and it led to a distraction from what the series was supposed to be. Seeing Ernie Francis Jr., who is a Trans Am guy, much like Rajah Caruth, he getting in an altercation with Tony Stewart is extremely interesting and a huge headline because they're from totally different backgrounds. Ernie Francis Jr. being a road course guy, having some oval experience, and then being on an oval track with Tony Stewart to the point racing hard enough to irritate Tony Stewart. That's a big deal to me. On top of both of those issues was that the on-track product was suffering. I've seen many people say this is due to Evernham no longer being the lead engineer behind the cars. I have no idea if that's true, but it does seem fairly accurate. I mean, they did well in 2022 without him, but they were basically, just the carryover year. They were still running probably the same engine, same chassis, everything, and as many cars that we've seen get wrecked and damaged and engines get blown and stuff like that, it probably led to the field having to get spread out because the equipment probably was no longer the same across the field as it was for the first couple of years. We had some controversial decisions by the organization as well, which led to Paul Tracy being removed from the roster, even though he was clearly 75% of the entertainment week after week. He was this guy that was going to chuck it into the corner, run into a guy, cause a wreck, or not cause a wreck, and just, you never knew what he was going to do. Yet now they made the announcement that, because Ken Schrader, who is, also a great, nostalgic NASCAR driver.
Tracy, Ken Schrader.
Looks like there's going to be some interesting words shared here, perhaps an altercation of sorts.
Having a conversation. No doubt with humor, as Kenny always does, but he always makes his point.
You think Ken would throw a punch?
No.
I don't think so either. He's a nice fella.
But he'll make his point.
Well, when your car looks like that, you deserve to be talked to.
With Ken Schrader there, so you lived it. Walk us through it, Kenny.
I'd like to see it, but I'm pretty sure green had black shoved into the outside wall. I'm not running another race with him. I'm done.
All right, Kenny Schrader frustrated here tonight.
And I have no arguments with him either. I just thought that would be something they could settle on track. Instead, you remove Paul Tracy completely. And it's just, instead of having people like that that's entertaining and it's kind of crazy, it just led to more efforts to have more and more current NASCAR drivers on the roster and less local drivers. And it just was something I had zero interest in seeing. In fact, I think I watched maybe 2 races the entire year in 2023, mostly because of those decisions, but also because of it being Thursday night instead of Saturday, and just wasn't my gig. So with all of that being said, and knowing the uncertain future of the series, today I'm going to dive into the iRacing replication of the SRX series. This is week 13 racing, which is official iRacing races, but it's unofficial, so it's not like ranked or anything. It's just basically a fun series to test out how the cars are going to be, get some interest, even though you do have to buy the car. It's to get some people interested in it to see if they're going to like it. So with it being kind of unofficial, non-ranked series, probably not going to be the most competitive racing, but it should give us an idea of the interest level and the overall experience that will provide to the sim racing community that could very well reignite the interest in the series and potentially spark up conversations between investors for the real world series to return, and that would be fantastic if it's the product it should have been. So we'll hop in and see what this is like. Alright, welcome back to Speed Tape Racer. We are in the SRX car at Eldora. This car is new to iRacing starting this season. This is the week 13 kind of fun series to introduce itself. I have tried twice now to finish a race, and actually, you know, one that wasn't just me just getting pummeled towards the end. I could have finished one, but I had been taken out by a lap car. My car wasn't handling good. It was going to be kind of boring to watch me just kind of fail around the track. With that being said, I'm actually pretty fast in this car in comparison to other drivers. I'm not very good on dirt, and I'm going to be doing a dirt race and an asphalt race in this car today. So far, the impression I have is they're pretty tough. You can bang them around pretty good and not lose speed, but if you start banging into the walls and T-boning cars pulling out of pits, it's not going to go well for you. We'll go ahead and get it cranked up here. I got to reset my view because something definitely didn't look right there.
Run for it. Drag your brake to help you enter the turn. If you absolutely need it.
15, I'm going to give number 8 a wide road going into 1. So if you don't mind, I'm going to ease off in there. Going to try not to be that guy. Lap 1, turn 1.
30 laps, make them count. The track temp
so
is
far, my
19,
experience
the air
is
temp
that
is
the
23
only real
degrees.
obstacle in these races are people coming back out of pits after they've spun.
Yeah, I've never driven these, so I'm going to go slow and might be a little bit.
So
It's unranked, right? Like there's no I rating or anything?
10-4, yeah, that's unranked. Only reason I figured I'd try it.
Josh, your monster car looks badass, man.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I've been staring at it the whole time. Looks dope.
It's going to look real good in my rear view.
The headlights are like cat eyes. It's pretty cool.
This start is pretty difficult. Not very good at it yet. Too much power, not enough time.
Okay, we'll get your fans on. Remember, you got left sides on here. Get your track bar and your fans on.
Hey, I made it.
P8 right here. The leader has just done a 18.6, 7th place. The car ahead has just done a 18.9. Okay, you just did a 19.3. The car ahead has just done a 18.7.
I've got no spotter turned on because that's how these cars were in real life, so see how that goes. So far in this race, it's pretty clean.
The leader just did a 18.3. That lap was a 19.1.
George.
No, man, I'm just trying to hold on. No need to apologize to me. know, everything in this new update has been awesome, and I like these for first impression.
P7 right there. Okay, that lap was a 19.1.
You're reeling this guy in. The captain now.
0.3. That lap was a 19.2. Okay, you just did a 19.2.
He's dead.
You're gaining on the guy in front. The gap is
0.4.
It's like you're driving half with the wheel and half with the throttle.
11th place. P10 right now.
the gap in front is now
0.5. P9 there. Okay, you just did a 19.9.
If you have a monster, you have to take a drink every time Josh passes you.
You're gaining on this guy. The gap is now
3.7 seconds.
Hell yeah. Sorry, Frank.
Oh, no, it's all good. I probably hit you.
No problem.
The only thing my car's missing right now is a bobblehead on the dash.
That lap was a 19.7.
I like it.
Attrition.
you're pulling away. The gap behind is now
0.9.
Car's very
Okay, that's
difficult
halfway.
to drive, so
Looking
it's
good
a
on
lot
fuel.
of fun just to turn laps in. There's not a lot of grip. There's a whole lot of power. So I'm not lying. I know I don't have any telemetry up to show you my inputs, but I'm literally like quarter throttle most of the lap.
We're P9. There's a car exiting the pits.
Looks like I'm gonna crack the top 10 even with my little half spin.
the gap
Like I
behind
said,
is
the
now
cars are
4.7.
tough.
Eighth place. That lap was a 19.5.
All right, leader, what do you want? I'll hold it in the wall for you.
He's there.
Seventh place.
That was on me. I apologize, guys. Jesus.
P6.
The gap in front is now
2.2 seconds.
They don't like getting past that way.
Josh,
Okay,
that was a
lap
close
was
one there.
20.1.
You need to drink up, big time.
You know, I've been able to catch you and be right behind you the whole race, but I can't pass you.
The gap in front of me is now
Am I making it too wide for you? I'm sorry. No, I like it. You're doing great. I'm not like trying to be mean. Been good race.
Right there.
Yes, sir.
Two at the line. That lap was a 19.9.
2 laps to go. I'm about to crack like top 5.
One to go right here. One to go.
A very hard car to control as I almost swap out. He does swap out.
is now about
8.5.
Yeah, we'll finish the race in P6. Not bad.
P6 right there. There we
It's a
go.
little
It's
bit
over.
boring.
Bring the
Well,
car
I
back
was
on.
going to do the
man.
slider.
Car is hard to
That with him
control.
down there.
I really like it.
See, Josh, I told you that car looked good in my rear view. Just didn't know it was coming around to lap me when I said it.
Alright, welcome to the SRX series at Five Flags Speedway. It seems like 3 is the charm, as this is going to be my 3rd attempt. I did finish an attempt the first time, but wasn't the most thrilling race. I'm hoping this is. But this will be my last attempt today, because I got to get that video made and rolling. Gotta get this video made and rolling, I should say. This car is very difficult to figure out. It's not like anything else I've driven in iRacing on ovals. It's kind of like driving a sports car on ovals a little bit, but you can tell that it's definitely made for ovals. It's very tight on entry, loose on exit. I guess that's pretty much every stock car though, especially pick setup wise. But this car just seems to be more difficult than those.
The track temp is 30. The air temp is 26 degrees. 30 laps. Make them count.
You do have your brake bias that you can adjust in car only. Can't do it in the garage. We're gonna crank it up here. Should be taking off from first gear. From what I've picked up on, second gear it's a little sluggish. Probably more grip that way. But we will see. I will need to take that brake prize back out after a few laps.
Okay, we'll get your fans on. Remember, you got left sides on here. Get your track bar and your fans on.
Car high. Keep it steady. Still there. Still there. He's still there. Clear outside. Inside. Car outside. Clear outside.
Well, that's not what I wanted, but
The leader has just done a 17.2. The car ahead just did a 17.5.
Really?
P6 right there.
You drove
Okay,
it
you
the
just did a
two fucking times already.
17.5.
What are you doing?
That lap was a 17.3. The car behind did a 17.4.
come on, let's go.
That lap was a 17.6. Sixth place.
Making positions, but not the way I want
That
to
lap
make
was a
them.
17.4.
My bad, the idiot drove in. I didn't check up that early.
Outside. Hold your line. Keep it steady. Keep it steady. Clear the top. Clear outside.
Sorry, buddy.
P5.
That's how I want to make them.
Track temp is rising. It is now 32 degrees. Okay, that lap was at
Inside.
17.6. Good job. Lap times are looking pretty consistent.
A much better race so far.
Okay, that's halfway. Looking good on fuel. Okay, you just did a 17.7. P5. There's a car leaving pit lane. Heads up. That lap was 18.1.
Oh, he took out the car behind me. Wow. This car is feeling much better with my brake bias adjustments that I'm making on the fly.
That lap was a 17.8.
Just making like half a percentage of changes here, but it's making a world of difference on the car.
Okay, you just did a 17.9.
See,
Brown.
bro, fucking we're at a not dumpy 5. Boom. You know spatial awareness? Try that.
Okay, that lap was a 18.3.
I dipped a little too low on that corner. That wasn't great. Try not to coast too much, because you're really best with any input.
Car high. Clear high.
Brown. Ahead is now 1.1 seconds. That lap was a 18.0.
I'm back up on my brake bias. My rears were starting to slip in the braking there.
Okay, that lap was a 18.0.
I'm moving. Go low.
Oh!
P4.
Number
Holy
2,
cow.
I'll give you room too.
This car is very tricky to handle, by the way. I've been conservative in all my other attempts. This one, by far, I'm driving the best.
The guy behind is catching. The gap's now 3.0 seconds. That lap was at 18.4.
Take me low.
Okay, you just did a 18.1. P4. 2 at the line.
2 laps to go, got a 2.5 second lead. I'm not going to push for anything. P4 is fantastic, especially given I had to race for those positions. And dodged
That lap was at
a
18.0.
couple of wrecks. I count that last one as 2 different wrecks.
Good job, Winston. Thank you.
So yeah,
P4 right there. There you
definitely
go.
a car.
Good job, man.
Definitely a car I would recommend for someone that's looking to learn about adjustments to make in the car as far as brake bias, because
Watch your speed.
you
Watch
got to
your
do it a
speed.
lot.
Don't be too aggressive. Keep your eye on your tack.
That was a very fun race. Honestly, the dirt was slightly more fun,
4,
but as far as
3,
asphalt,
2, 1.
as far as asphalt goes, I don't think you're gonna really get more entertaining. The car is very hard to drive. It requires a lot of focus. It requires, let's see where we ended on our brake pressure. Okay, yeah, I'm back to 50, which is where it started. But I started out here, I went down 2, then back up 1, and then I went back down 1 and back up 2, and then back up 2 again. And that's how I got to 49. So I think it's definitely something to learn. You can't make the change in the garage. You have to actually get in the car and do it, or at least that's the way it is right now. Could just be that it's week 13, but either way, the leader's having some fun. Either way, this was by far the most fun race so far. A lot of passing, a lot of wrecks to avoid, and I hate that I got into that guy, but I was trying to hold my line as best I could and not slip up into that upper angle, that above that white line. There's just not much grip up there, and you lose a lot of time. So my bad, but position's a position, I guess. In the end of the day, at least I didn't ram into anyone, so that's always good. So we'll go back into the studio. So can iRacing save the SRX series? It's a good question. I feel like there's a lot of interest. You can tell every one of these races is getting packed at the standard times that you would expect them to anyway. The racing is pretty good. It can be boring and it can be dirty. There's very little in between, at least from what I experienced. Did 6 races, 3 on dirt, 3 on asphalt, and the third in all of them was the best. It was later on in the day. I think the dirt race I did around like 2 p.m. The asphalt race I did around 4 p.m. So those are typically going to be your best slots anyway on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. I feel like there is a shot that it could actually revive interest in the series. It could help. It definitely was a good move by SRX. I'm not sure if they got money for it or if iRacing got money for it. I imagine it was the SRX got paid for it. But this could potentially open up some esports and other things happening, which can always help. I mean, esports is basically what saved North Wilkesboro, and although I'm not a huge fan of esports, it can definitely play its part. So we will see. This has been a very, very good opening or introduction to the SRX for me. The car is a handful on dirt, and it's all about messing around with the balance of the brakes on asphalt, or at least at Five Flags it was. I imagine it will be similar to that at other oval venues. I'll definitely be giving this car some more races. I'm not a dirt guy. Luckily, the dirt races do go on your dirt license, which will actually help me on the dirt license side of things and learning and going up that rank. But as far as answering the question I started with, we will have to see. It definitely has a potential to do that, potential to revive the series. So until we meet again, hope you have a wonderful week, and just tune in again for the next race.